all. One of the reasons why we put this together is just because we would like to get you, and some of you are already on your journey, some of you are just starters, the kind of people that we feel, just based on requests and based on just information sessions, are people that are switching careers, people that are fresh grads, businesses, people that want to integrate, parents, students, people that are mid-level that are trying to switch careers, and people that just they don't even have a career and they're saying, oh, how can I get into tech, right? This is for you. Please make the most of it, ask questions, get as much as you can from these two great guys, and see you on the other side, I guess. So I'll be here just listening into for myself. So yeah, over back to you, Fair, and yeah, you can take it away. Yep.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Ben. So just be moving on along while the rest of the guys are joining. And before Peter would proceed to introduce himself, I'll just be giving a snippet as to what Peter does and who he is, then he can carry on from there. So I believe you can still hear me, right?
Yes, we can.
Yes, amazing. So yeah, nice. So Peter is been in the Salesforce ecosystem for I think close to a decade, because I was looking at I was speaking with him, and I looked at his LinkedIn profile, and it was quite impressive because again, I myself am on this Salesforce journey, and I sort of saw all of the things he had achieved, where he had worked, all the skills he had, and again how all these things has transitioned his life, and I was really impressed by that, and it was like a point of reference for me. Meaning, if he could do this, then I also can do this. So he's 4 times Salesforce certified. That's not easy to come by. If probably you're always on LinkedIn, when you see testimonials of people who have written their certifications and all those things, it's really not easy to come by. And why? Because it's a vast ecosystem, and you really need to have all these hands-on knowledge before you can attain all those certifications and achievements. So I'll just leave it to Peter to just do an elaborate intro as to who he is, what he was doing before Salesforce, how he got to know about Salesforce, since when he's been in the Salesforce ecosystem, how has that journey been for him, and where he's at right now. So I'll just leave it to Peter to help carry on with that. Peter, you have the floor.
Yeah, thanks, Ife. Good to meet everyone. I know it's a bit early, so grab a coffee just so you can stay awake. Where do I start from? So I'll begin with like my journey so far. So my undergraduate was in computer science in the University of Lagos. So I was in Nigeria for my undergrad, and I decided to move to Australia in 2011 to do my master's degree in computer science. So while I was studying, on my 3rd semester, I got, they put me into a kind of an internship with a company. So there I just kind of learned a few things, but my main focus then was more on development, like coding and just building either softwares or enhancing them. So when I finally graduated in 2013, I got my first job in a small IT firm, really small, and the money wasn't that great. Like it was small, but at least a good start to at least be in the IT world and not just do other blue collar jobs. So while I was doing that, there was a certain project that came up where there was a massive piece of land where the guys needed to kind of allocate properties to different owners, depending on how many lands they bought and stuff. And my boss then just said, so there is this request to kind of keep track of all the plots in the property. It's a massive estate, and I'll need to do an investigation on Salesforce. This was 2013, I think. And that was my first hands-on experience with Salesforce, because it was more like we've never used this stuff before, but I just want you to do a bit of investigation on it and just look around, see how it fits into what we're trying to achieve. And I had to play around it. And then those of you who would know what Salesforce looked like, more than 10 years ago, you guys are lucky if you just started, because there's a massive difference between a classic view and a lightning view. So two different views. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I guess over time you get to understand. So I kicked off with the classic view, and it was really interesting. I found it really interesting, everything in one place, talking to external systems. So that was my first experience, and I just kind of did an investigation on that project and moved on to something else. Now I was just focusing on development in PHP and MySQL, which I enjoyed while it lasted. Then I got another role, and this time it was more of what I did in Nigeria. So I was into telematics. So we had like vehicle tracking devices put into cars. So it was like a control room which I managed, and just kind of monitor the cars and get updates on where they're at. I think I did a massive project in Lagos then, which was the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. So coming to Australia, kind of doing the same thing was good for me. So I just enjoyed, being in that space. And one of the days, my manager just walked up to my desk and said, "Hey, Peter, look, there is a particular course that no one is willing to take because everyone is kind of busy, the managers and all. Would you be willing to, jump on it?" And I'm like, look, I'm definitely up for it. I want to, upskill myself. And then I just only got out of uni. So anything to learn it was just anything I could absorb was what I just went for. It was a 3-day, 3 days Salesforce course, and it cost about $8,000. So just the amount alone told me that it was a good thing I was doing. Because if they had invested $8,000 for 3 days training, then I knew it would have been good. So I got in there, met with a few people. These were like executives, like CEOs of companies, and we all sat together. So that was me, a small boy in the midst of all those big boys. It kind of exposed me to understand that sometimes it's where you position yourself that kind of determines how far you go. And I could have easily turned it down. I said, I had some other things to focus on. Or I was interested in, going on the course for 3 days, but I jumped on it. And now, after the third day, I was back in the office, and my IT manager just came up to me and said, "Well, perhaps you remember the the course you just got into, and we would like you to now focus on Salesforce." And she said, "Yeah, you're going to be leading the team to build and integrate our current system with Salesforce." And that was like, I just almost fell out of my chair at that point, because this is something I just had a 3 days course on, and there's no way I could have, picked up a lot. But she encouraged me, and she's like, "Don't worry, Peter. I know it's like I'm throwing you in the deep end, but see how you go." So, of course, as a Niger boy, I just kind of focused on the bigger dream, which was, I can do this. Like, I don't know how long it's going to take me, but I'm going to try. And those of you that know much about integration, like integrating between systems, and this was a two-way integration, not just a one-way. I was supposed to make the existing system, which they used as a fleet management system, talk to Salesforce, and Salesforce talk back to the system. So I actually stayed awake that particular night, just thinking about it, and even trying. I had a development environment where I could play around. So I just went in there and just started testing stuff. And around, I think, 4 a.m. in the morning, I kind of did a push from Salesforce into the backend system, and it worked. So I think that was something that encouraged me. This was like a few hours after I had the discussion with my manager. So I went back to the office, and the next day I told her, "Look, I think I've done it." And she's like, "No, it doesn't work that way. There's no way he could have, integrated a system within how many hours. So I sat her down, I showed her what it was. I pushed a couple of vehicles from Salesforce into the backend system. And she's like, whoa. And she just ran straight to the CEO and said, I think we've done it. I think we're almost there. Like, we've got a connection, which is very important. Now, just for hints, to hire a consultant in Australia, which is where I stay, is pretty expensive. It's not cheap. So we're talking at an architect level, probably like $1,500 an hour. So it's not small money. So they weren't willing to invest in that, which is why they decided to just throw me in the deep end. Now, to other people, it was stress for me. So my guys were coming to me at work saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry for you," they just kept going on, and I saw it as a challenge. So let's fast forward a bit. I actually, did very well there, and after that particular thing, I now became the Salesforce admin. So that was my role, but I was doing a bit of integration because I had a development background. So working on that, I was probably managing about 200 users, sales, marketing, service, so 200 users in total. And I somehow I just got poached from one of the companies that was a fintech, a startup fintech, and they invited me for an interview. So I went in there, and I wasn't really willing to change because it was something really interesting. Like I enjoyed what I did, in the fleet management company. So going into an unknown space was something I thought really well about. But I went for the interview just reluctantly. I just sat in there and I was just answering the questions like, yeah, whatever. But at the end of the day, they liked me. And I was like, nah, like I'm trying not to get the job. And I was gonna actually fly out on vacation to Europe because my wife now was she stayed in Europe, so I had to fly down to Europe, and it was important for me to not get the job. So anyway, fast forward, I did the first interview. They liked me. They invited me for a second one, but I was going to be overseas. So I was in Dubai when I got a phone call, saying, look, we want to have a second interview with you, and we think you're the right person for the job. Anyways, it was Dubai, so I took that call, went ahead. Fast forward, while I was in Europe, I got another call saying, well, you're the preferred candidate. We want you to resign from your current role and start with us. We'll pay you twice as much as you were earning in your previous role. And I thought it wasn't a good thing to do because I liked the company I worked for. So I turned down the offer and I said, nah, I can't do that. When I come back to Australia, I would consider it, but I can't resign from overseas. It's totally impossible. So the guy kept bugging me anyways, if I fast forward a bit. So I came back to Australia and had the second interview. And from what they said, the projects and all, it was really exciting. It sounded good. Now I had to deal with the fact that I had to resign from my very interesting role and come up to a role that I wasn't sure about. But that kind of move is something we should all, consider. Like sometimes a tough decision to make. Now, I wasn't thinking about the money, to be honest. Like the money was really good, but what I was thinking about is obviously career progression. So I was a Salesforce admin, but this position was more like a Salesforce developer position where I could at least learn a few more things, and they were starting from scratch. It wasn't as like they had Salesforce before. So it was a fintech. They were trying to build a loan management system, and it was a really interesting project. Fast forward, I took the offer, I started the job, and it was good. Went well. 2 years. It was really interesting. In fact, one of the companies, it's a research and development company, and it's grown really big, like really big. And I'm happy to be part of that. So let's tick forward on that. I actually got another role, and this time it was more like a consultant role, where I got exposed to a variety of industries. So I'm talking the mining industry, the fintechs, the oil and gas, the health, So I was pretty much working on at least a minimum of 6 projects at a time. So it was 6 projects, but just bouncing around. And that's where, you expose yourself to more skills, which is what we're going to talk about when we start to ask questions about what path do you want to follow? Like what kind of ticks your boxes in terms of, the path you want to go. So yeah, I actually learned a few things as a consultant. Like I became a business analyst, I became a project manager, I became pretty much everything, as a consultant, and that's what consultants do. But if we look forward again, from that role, I got into the health sector, which is very coincidental. So it was during the COVID-19 period where the health department of Western Australia wanted to implement a system that would manage COVID and vaccines and inventory. So I was part of the team who actually built that system, which is a massive stuff, like for the whole state. And I'm currently still working on that project till date. But yeah, really interesting. I don't want to bore you all with like the inner things that happened along the way. But if you listen to my journey so far, you can see how I've gone from not knowing Salesforce at all to being an admin, then being a developer, then being a consultant, then being an architect at the end of it all. So it was just a journey, and you choose your path you want to go. I guess for now, that's pretty much a quick timeline of how I've traveled. I'll give it back to Ife if he has a few comments to push in.
Thank you very much, Peter. So you didn't bore me for one, and I'm sure you didn't bore anybody. I was so just glued to listening to what you were saying, because again, I can relate to it because of, this line, I was formerly a cloud engineer, and I'm like looking to transition into Salesforce alongside doing program managing and all those things. So again, I was, as we were speaking, I was already picturing myself along the path, and yeah, it was really nice. And from what you were saying, I picked out a couple of things. So I'm going to be asking, like, in terms of one, internal factors, like more like personal factors, what were those things that helped you in that transition? More like personally, what were those things that helped you? Then externally, also for external factors, what were those tools? What were those materials? What were those external things that helped you also? So again, so people can relate to it, so it doesn't feel like, oh, it's only Peter that can do this. I also can do that. So what would you advise guys in that regard?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So if I kick off with the internal things, first thing is obviously you need to be motivated to do it. Like if someone comes to tell you to do something that you're not really interested in, you kind of struggle because you try to do it for them and not yourself. But I knew I wanted to kind of walk away from actual hands-on development. And I had no idea there was something like low code and functional builds as a then way back.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. So was there a question there?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I am from India.
Okay, hi.
I joined this meeting from Twitter.
Okay, yeah.
So nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you.
I am
so
from India.
Are you going to just listen to us then? If you have questions, I guess Ife is going to give a chance for everyone to ask questions. But yeah, very nice to meet you.
Sure, absolutely. Just carry on, Peter. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Cool. So yeah, like I was saying, the internal. Yeah. So like I was saying, the internals is more of yourself and your willingness to go into it. Now for externals, resource, materials, things you'd need to bring yourself up to that level. One of it is obviously.
Sir, I'm so poor. Please give me some dollars, please, sir.
I'm a bit distracted.
Just carry on, please.
Yeah. Okay. So Yeah.
Please
So,
sir,
so
please मैं आपको हाथ जोड़ के बोल रहा हूँ sir.
that's a bit distracting.
I got a
can we
question.
take care of that, please?
I'm so sorry about that. Just carry on, please.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so for the externals, like I was saying, it
Yo,
is
Pete, you
more
bow and
of
shit.
so the admin, can you take out anyone who is not like willing to understand what we're here for, if that's okay?
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure. Just carry on. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sir, please give me some money, sir. I am so poor. Sir, please, sir. Please, please, sir. Please. Please, sir, I am so
So you can
Alrighty.
carry on. I've removed the person.
Okay, good. So yeah, sorry guys, sorry for the little bit of distraction. So like I was saying, for externals, we obviously know there are tools out there, like people willing to learn would jump on YouTube, but Salesforce specifically has an environment where it encourages you to actually learn, and
Sure.
it's sort of a gamified kind of environment where you could get badges and upskill, and it kind of cuts across every single industry. So Trailhead is my number one recommendation if you want to kick off with a career like that. So really important. And also external factors, just reach out to people who are kind of above you, and get a mentor, someone who's been there, done that, and that really helps a lot, because you can ask pretty much any questions and you can get the answers on the fly instead of struggling yourself. If that makes sense.
Oh, nice. Thanks for sharing. So I'll just move on along. Say for a layman, what is Salesforce, and what would you describe Salesforce as? How does Salesforce say benefit a business and benefit the society at large, and how does it benefit me as an individual looking to build a career around Salesforce?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I'll tell a quick funny story about it. So there's a colleague of mine, and he was in a very important meeting, which would determine if we get the deal or not. And the question they asked him was, what is Salesforce? And the first thing he said was, Salesforce is a database. No, Salesforce is not a database. Because I mean, people just imagine it's something that stores data and that's it. Nah, it does way more than that. So it's not even just a CRM tool. It does more than CRM. So customer relation management is one of the things it does, but there are various tools within Salesforce that kind of branches out to different aspects, like marketing, sales, service, field service, and communities. So just like website building. So in my simple definition of Salesforce, I would say it's a platform that helps you manage your either customers or your employees. It can be anything. Helps you manage them, and also gives you like a 360 view of what your data looks like, which is what is important to everyone. So you have good data, you're able to forecast on, in the next 2 years, how is my business going to perform? You can forecast, should I be focusing more on a particular product I sell, or should I, actually stop selling a particular product? So yeah, that's Salesforce in a simple term, just so everyone understands.
Oh, nice. Nice. So as an individual looking to build a career around Salesforce, could you just talk a bit around that also?
Yeah. So the good thing about Salesforce is you don't need any prior knowledge. You don't need any IT background or anything, and that's because there's a place for you to fit in for sure. Like there's a place for everyone. So if you had a development background and you wanted to continue that line, you can be a Salesforce developer. or if you just wanted to do like functional builds, like click and drag, and a bit of not coding at all, but just functional stuff, then you can be a Salesforce admin. Like you can manage users. Now, if you take it one step up, if you want to be a business analyst, which is I think my favorite in all of this, because you get to speak to your customers and understand what they want. And now you're not understanding them technically, because a CEO doesn't care how you write a code to display a button. He's more interested in, does the button work or does it not work? So business analysis obviously is one very good aspect, but obviously it takes a bit of climbing up the ladder before you get there. There's marketing. If you're more into like helping people target their customers in a certain way. There's sales, which is also kind of tagged along with marketing in a way. The marketing aspect is a niche skill, and this is one of the ones I really went into, not because I wanted to do marketing, but I was more interested in the automation part of it. So marketing is really interesting. Not everyone wants to go in there, but when you have it, you're like hotcake. Like most of the hits I get from LinkedIn and every other like job tool, they all say like everyone is tending towards being an admin, a developer, but no one wants to do automation, So I did Pardot, which is a marketing automation tool, and it's kind of put me on the spotlight in any role that I want to go for. So yeah, in general, for someone who is just about to jump on the wheel, there's loads of opportunities for you. Like you don't need any prior background knowledge. You can just walk into Ydev, for example, and just specify I want to be a Salesforce person, and they'll walk you through the process. Yeah, I'm sure Ife can hand you over to some really good hands that can direct you on which way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your take on that. So the next thing I'll be asking is, for me personally, and for what we're doing at Ydev, we've seen the trend. We've seen current projections. It's looking like so what's happening is Salesforce is getting all these balls, and businesses are getting on the train for implementing Salesforce in all of their business processes. And in return, what this brings back is obviously all these companies would be needing guys to manage, to implement, and do all those things. And Salesforce has said, in the next, say, 3 years, by 2026, we'll be having about 9.3 million Salesforce jobs around the world. So my question to you, Peter, would be, why do you think everyone on this call should care about having a career in Salesforce? And after stating that, then what parts can they take for this decision they're going to be making on this call? So why should everyone on this call care about Salesforce?
Yeah, thank you for that. So yeah, it's really important to obviously broaden your view when it comes to being willing to learn, and there are benefits that come with that. So for example, if you want to be the one determining how much you want to earn, it's a good path to follow. Why did I say that? The market has grown from, 2011 when, or 2012, 2013, when I started, on the journey, the market has grown exponentially. Like it's exploded. I don't know if anyone has been to San Francisco, but like it's Salesforce there is like even the tallest building in San Francisco. So if you Google it, you can have a look. Mark Benioff, who is the CEO, he's a very brilliant guy, and he's thought through what would kind of put everyone in a path on a journey to success. Now, everyone on this call, it's not compulsory you kind of do all the courses or go for a certain path. But what is important is you have nothing to lose when you go down this journey. As a matter of fact, you gain a lot And when I say a lot, I'm a testimony to that. Like I've seen how, I've been to places that if I was just a developer, I would probably never be. I've been with like really important people, just for the fact that I went down this journey. Now, for us on the call, thinking, should I really consider doing Salesforce, or what benefits do I get from it? It's countless. You can't really quantify it. As a matter of fact, I'll give Australia as an example. The need for Salesforce admins, developers, business analysts has grown almost 400%. So that means there are shortages in that skill set. And now what Australia has to deal with is, outsource. So they go to places like India, Mauritius, and a few other countries out there to get, this skill set. But if you look at it broadly, like there are people who are kind of half-baked and they still get a good deal. But if you know your stuff and you know what you're doing, you're just going to be the one calling the shots everywhere you go. So I believe Ife is going to put together some sort of guide. I think it's one of the slides we're going to display on what paths to follow. And once you have a look at that, you definitely fit into one of them. I don't think anyone on this call is left out from something you can benefit.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. So we'll just be doing just a couple more things on this current page I'm looking at. Then we'll move on to the page you spoke about. Then after everyone has seen where probably they would best fit in, they would also have sort of like a poll to get everyone's feedback, and we'll see how everybody perceives their sports in Salesforce as. So one of the other things I'll just be taking from this slide I'm looking at is there is the bit about what can I do with the Salesforce career, and it's a valid question. Then I want to switch careers between. I want to switch careers. I cannot catch up. I think that works with you, so you should be able to talk about that, because I think that happened for you. Then the last thing I'll be asking is what do I stand to gain? So there are like 3 questions in one. What do I stand to gain? What can I do with this Salesforce career? And how can I switch up from a formal career to a Salesforce career?
Cool. Maybe I should use my wife as an example. So her journey, I guess that'll make it a bit clearer. So my wife is from she's not a tech person at all. So she's from she studied bioinformatics in university. So it's pretty much labs and stuff. But, we're chatting one day and I said, how about you just play around in Trailhead and see how you like it. Like, it's just something you just go in and have a look. And, she got really interested in, getting badges to start with and understanding the system properly. And let's fast forward to today. She's a business analyst, and she's earning really good money to start with. But she came from a no IT background. Like, it was all either medicals or labs or stuff. And now she's into business analysis, which is like two far ends of the river, So that's a good example. That's an example I can give. So anyone, doesn't matter where you're coming from, a banker, a chemist, doesn't really matter. In fact, even someone on the streets can, a carpenter can jump in. It's just your willingness and how much you're really willing to invest in, growing yourself.
Oh, nice. So I think this is now a trend, because I spoke with Sunday earlier. So I think what he did also was to get his wife onto Salesforce. So I think probably in future I'd have to do that also. And for every other person, in the course. So I think that's the way to go, because again, you're like the second, third person. So that just shows the amount of value and how easy, so to speak, an individual can transition into Salesforce. So I'll be going on to that slide you spoke about But then before I go to that slide, I'll be asking a question that precedes all of the information you'll be given on that particular slide. Then my question would be, as an individual, I know nothing about Salesforce. How can I learn Salesforce, and what career paths are the odd shots in Salesforce? You've spoken about a couple of them. So how can I learn Salesforce, and what are those career paths? Like the trending, the buzzing, the odd shots. And again, most importantly, how much can I make? And the reason why I'm asking this is, again, for an average man, what an average man is seeking to do with his life is to seek progress. He wants progress for his life, and he wants to attain some sort of kind of lifestyle and some sort of financial stability. So how much can also make after delving into all these odd shots parts that Salesforce has to offer?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I'll kick off with the first question, which was how do you learn Salesforce in the first place? Now, for me, I had to, be put on a 3-day course, which was $8,000. Now, today, luckily, we have Ydev, which is an academy that actually is willing to, give you this knowledge for, I call it peanuts, like give you this knowledge for like peanuts, because if you compare $8,000 to how much you pay to Ydev to upskill you, I think everyone should jump on it without even thinking. Now, to learn, obviously, your willingness, but secondly, you need somewhere like an institution that can kind of guide you through the process. So your first step, obviously, is what we can see on the screen. So to start with, Salesforce would kind of put you in a position where you can grow from one role to the other. But if you kick off with a Salesforce admin role, it kind of gives you a view on what the system is like, the architecture of the system, what it can do, and the variety of ways you can utilize automations and use the system. So for someone who knows absolutely nothing about it, I would say start with something that can guide you in a particular direction. Now, there are a lot of resources, obviously, like Trailhead, I said, was the most important one. That's doing it by yourself. But I feel if there's information overload on the internet where you can be listening to YouTube videos and you get really bored because there's too much information out there. So if there's one more tailored towards like getting you the initial skills, then you decide which path you want to go. That would be a way to go, in my opinion. Now, in terms of how much you can earn, it's not small money. I think at the moment, Salesforce careers have been the most impressive to me. Like for an admin, let's estimate an admin is a Salesforce admin. So if we look at the chart up there, let's look for the admin. So an admin is earning $91,000. Now, let's try to multiply that by $410, which is the conversion rate now. That's kind of what we're talking about. Now, happy days if you get a remote role where you don't have to travel to a different country and you still earn the same amount of money. But on the average, like we're looking at this kind of amounts, 91K as a system admin. Now, if you upskill yourself a bit more, a bit of Java, and you want to transit into Salesforce development, obviously 180K cuts it. If you want to go down the marketing line, it's a bit lower, but it's still good money either ways. Salesforce consultants, they earn a decent amount. That's because they work on multiple projects and they cover a massive ground. So obviously you would grow from an admin before you get to a consultant. So everyone's starting point should obviously be the Salesforce admin. Then depending on your zeal and your energy, you can decide which path to go. But the ultimate goal is always to get to the level of a system architect, which is a Salesforce architect, which means you're now the one solutioning for big businesses like, say, MTN wants to do a massive project on Salesforce, they obviously have internal systems they use already, and they want to integrate Salesforce into that system. Obviously, you need an architect to be able to say, well, based on what you have already and what Salesforce can do, then we can come to the conclusion that this is what the architecture looks like. So most guys that start off as admins would aim towards being architects, and they've actually underestimated the amount there. So in Australia, an architect can earn up to $180,000. So that's a massive amount. So in terms of how much you can earn, I've just given it to you a snapshot, and I guess you can do a bit more investigation on Google and just see what it looks like.
Oh, okay, thanks. So as I was speaking about before, I'd just like for you to just touch on all of the career paths, and then we can take the questions from the guys.
Yeah, cool. So for a Salesforce admin, like I said, that's the first step, your first journey into the Salesforce ecosystem, because that gives you an overview of how the system works, the architecture that sits behind, what you can do, your processes you can build within the system. Very good starting point. Now, some people just stay as admins, which there's nothing wrong with staying as an admin. So if you want to earn 91K and that's good enough for you, and you want to do something else on the side, perfectly fine. So who just stay as admin for 4, 5 years, 6 years. But I would recommend, I'm sure everyone on this chat should be maybe under 40, hopefully. But I mean, if you're still young and your brain is still sparky, I would say don't see it as an admin. Aim for the next best thing, like the next best thing after an admin. So there are some of the parts you can kind of do a big leap. So for if you do your Salesforce admin certification and you've kind of done some hands-on on Salesforce, it's easy for you to jump into a Salesforce development career, which is what I did. So I jumped into a Salesforce developer position from an admin position, and that's because I had a bit of coding background, so I could do that. I'd leave the architect one, which is the next one, because the architect is actually supposed to be somewhere below, because it's one of the top ones. I'll go on to like sales, marketing, and service. They all sit on the same line: sales, marketing, and service. Marketing is more tailored towards, for example, MTN sends you an SMS saying, if you buy data worth 5 gig, you get these perks, right? All of that is done automatically. It's not done by someone they assigned to the system to send emails to 1 million people. So marketing automation utilizes that kind of system. So if you like to see automated emails going out, automated SMSs going out, and you like to build those journeys, they're called journeys in some of the packages. They're called engagements in others. But yeah, if you want to go down that route, really good. Now, a sales career would simply be, I guess there are a few definitions of sales, but in this context, it's more like you have a business and you sell something. So obviously Salesforce, this particular package in Salesforce helps you manage your customer relationship. You build and you can actually forecast on where your business is going to be in the next X number of years if you're doing that. One really important thing about obviously the Salesforce system is your reports and dashboards. So it's one thing to have all the data in the world and it sits in there and you have to kind of navigate and figure out how you're performing. It's another thing to have like reports and dashboards that gives you like real-time snapshots of what's happening in your business, so you can actually tell, last month we made $1 million. This month I think we got a bit, not as much as last month, and you can now forecast to say, well, based on the first 3 months we're going to be doing this, and it's pretty accurate because it's a lot of information thrown into the system, and the system intelligently builds those dashboards for you. Now, I don't know if some of us might know, but who knows Einstein? Like Einstein, just put up your hands. Einstein, like Albert Einstein, is like a famous scientist. He built a lot of good things. So Salesforce bought the what's it called? The license to kind of use Einstein as a product within Salesforce. So if you hear about Salesforce Einstein, which does a lot of intelligent AI stuff, artificial intelligence, then that's what I'm referring to. So your data, it can suggest call Tunde tomorrow. You know, it can actually suggest those kind of things. You can tell you call Tunde or call this person, right? So the next one would be, so after you've done all of those ones, service is similar. Service is more of managing your existing customers. So you're a camera company, you sell cameras. If you have customers that have bought your cameras, and now they're having issues with, you know, updating the software, or one cracked the screen. So service kind of handles that kind of customer interaction. So it's someone on the call, you know, interacting with the customers, giving them troubleshooting advices, or, you know, giving them a replacement advice. So that service. Consulting, like I said, it's pretty broad. So you can wear multiple hats in that one. You can be a business analyst, you can be a developer, you can still be a functional person, pretty broad. And I enjoy that most because it keeps me really busy. And I get to work on really amazing projects. So I guess everyone should actually be tending towards that. A designer, obviously, is someone who would put, sort of similar to the architect, but it's more of like a from a UI UX perspective, and how the system is going to look. So I've just kind of I just went through pretty much all of the paths which anyone can take. Everyone, like I said, fits into one of them. So it's something of a discussion to say which way do I want to go, and how do I want to approach it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Peter. So I think that was very concise and detailed, and just to get like a feel as how we're going to be reacting towards this. So I'll just be dropping this poll, and I would like for us to just react to the poll, so we could just see we could get the feedback as to what everybody on this call is thinking regarding a possible Salesforce career. Really. So we'll just carry on. We'll carry on. So I would like to take in questions from the guys while we prep that. So I would like to take questions from the guys. So you could just drop your questions on the chat. Then I'll read them out. Then we'll answer. So I have one here from Mabel. Mabel, sorry if I pronounced that wrongly. So she says, how can I get access to this Salesforce materials? So I think I can answer for that. One, if you are registered with us at Ydev Academy, we're happy to take you on board and show you all those things. Then again, joining all of our classes, you would have access to the facilitator, all of the trail mixes that the facilitator will be dropping. But then as a generalist, you could just go onto Trailhead, search out Trailhead on Google, then you should be able to sign up, then find your way around. But again, as Peter said, you could use YouTube, you could use a personal study guide, but again, you always need an institution to guide you, because it could be overwhelming at some point when you're trying to do something and it's not working and you're not getting like progress. It could be very difficult. So again, my best advice would be why we're happy to help. I'm happy to help, super happy to help you. You could probably pose me privately after this call. I'm happy to help you take you on that process and get you signed on, and you have all those Salesforce materials that you believe in. Again, you can't do it on your own. You need help. So that's why we're here to offer that help. Then I have another question from Omolola. She says, how do I start the journey? So I can answer that. So you can start this journey by reaching out to us at Ydev Academy. So I'll be dropping our socials at the end of the call. Then you can just give us a call, give us a text, then we'll be reaching back to you almost immediately and to get all of all your questions. Then you said what support is available. Yeah, we are super happy to help you in place of mentorship as we have Peter on this call for the Beat with facilitators. We have weekly sessions which you could join on all of all those bits and pieces. Then you said what's the time frame for each career path? So I would like for Peter to answer that. What is the time frame for each career? I don't understand. Do you mean more like the time frame it takes to learn this, or I don't know where angle you're coming from, but then Peter,
Yeah.
could you?
Yeah, I can jump in on that one. So starting off as a Salesforce admin, to be honest, realistically, I'd say a time frame of 3 months, just for you to get certified. So from studying the materials to actually knowing the functionalities, then sitting for your certification. So 3 months, I'd say. Now, if you have zero development background and you want to obviously go into development, that will take a bit of more time. But your prior knowledge on being a Salesforce admin would help massively. So let's add a few extra months. So say you've done your Salesforce admin certification, probably 2 or 3 extra months can put you on the path of a developer. So you already know what the architecture looks like, and all you're doing is, okay, if I can't do this functionality, so if I can't send an email because it's a Gmail kind of email, how do I extend that functionality to be able to do it with development? So that will take a few extra months after that. Now, the journey, obviously, to being an architect is a long one, because there are dependent exams that you need to write to get to certain levels. For sales, service, marketing, those ones kind of sit along the same path with Salesforce admin. So 3 months, I'd say, for sales, service, and marketing. Now, if you are super keen on just smashing it out, I would say there's a moment to kind of go hands-on. So some people just go, do all the certifications, and at the end of the day, they start to forget what they've learned. I'd say if you start with one, say you start with Salesforce admin, get a bit of work experience, like real life experience on it, that would help you, go to the next level. So it's not like a race to the finish. It's more like understanding what path you want to go and understanding what the system, does, so you can go to the next one. So yeah, I won't give a time frame on how to get to an architect, because people's journeys are different. But I would say, if you kick off with the admin, it gives you a platform to start to decide once you get a role within the Salesforce ecosystem, and you can expand your knowledge on that.
Oh, nice. Thanks for the feedback. Then I think she's kind of elaborated a little bit. She says to learn. So I think I can speak to that. So what we offer at Ydev is it's more like a 3 to 4 months journey, in the sense that there's 2 months in class where you attend weekend classes, Saturdays, Sundays, for the span of 2 months. Then on the 3rd month, we'll be pushing you onto an hands-on class where all those things you've learned in theory, you'll be coming to practicalize them for a full month with small projects, capstone projects, all those things that will give you like a feel, and to give you that confidence for even when probably you'll be attending interviews and all those bits. So that's like the journey for us at Ydev Academy. Then after even during the whole 3 months, then there's the bit about mentorship. Then we'll also be partnering you, or more like putting you in groups and pairing you with mentors. So there's a bit about the facilitator passing on this knowledge in class. Then there's also the after bit of that, having the access to talk to a mentor, ask your questions, probably things you will get to run your hands-on and labs and all those things. So there's also that bit too. So we have that class. It's a consulting one-on-one class. You have access to the mentors. You would help with your CV, re-engineer your CV, to make it a presentable when you're looking for a job. And some of the things, another very important thing we also are big on is, and what we've done is to talk to all of the guys in the Salesforce ecosystem, partner with Salesforce. And again, they're helping with placement. So it's not just the bit about another training academy. They're not just coming here for the trainings alone. So what we're ensuring is from day one, you're onboarding, you already foresee when most likely you start talking to employers of labor. So it's more like, oh, I'm starting this, say April. Then in the next 4 months, I have it at the back of my mind that what Ydev is saying is, in the next 4 months, after I've passed my SAT exam, then I should be talking to an employer. So it's not like a very long journey. So it's a journey that is concise. You know what is going on every bit of the way. Because what we try to do is to just itemize all these things. Then you can properly quantify them, and it makes sense for you. So there's the bit about in-class learnings. There's the bit about hands-on learnings. There's the bit about mentorship. There's the bit about rebranding you. There's the bit about also giving you vouchers for your set. So what we're saying is take care of the training fees. Then we would source out means to give you a voucher at almost free, if not free. We'll give you the voucher. Then guide you as to successfully writing the exam. After writing the exam, then we're rebranding your seat, as I said before. Then we're placing you in front of potential employers. So again, it sort of makes sense, and it changes the game for you and for us, because you know what you're paying for. You're getting the value for what you're paying for. So in that regard, that's what Ydev helps with. That's why you really need to talk to me after this call. Like everyone on this call has to talk to me, and I'm happy to take your questions and to help you. So I have another question from Ada, and she says, very informative session. What does mentorship look like, and what are the benefits of that, and do they help with certification? So I think I've thanks Ada, I've spoken about that for a bit. So we actually do help with certification. So for every Salesforce exam, I think for admin, which you'll be starting out with, it's about $200. And what we're saying is focus on paying for your training fees. Then we focus on getting you vouchers to write your exam. So what we're saying is we're going to be more like gifting you $200 to write your exams in voucher. I'm not going to be sharing dollars. Everyone, so you'll not be looking for a bookie effect to go and change the dollars out. So I'll be giving you a voucher that would give you access to write the SAT exam. Then for the bit of mentorship, I think for the current course we're having, it was this past week or this current week, we moved them to pods with their mentors. But for the first course we had, like, it was more like a very small pod with 5 guys to 1 mentor, which made it very easy for people to participate. People could not hide because it was a low number, so there's no place to hide. So that's the bit about mentorship. You can talk to them on our Slack platform, and you probably, depending on your relationship with the mentor, you can talk with the mentor outside the purview of the platform we've provided. So that's the bit about mentorship. Then she has another question. If one is a working mom, what kind of support do we provide? So for working mom, also, so we have a program that we've kind of just put up for them, and it's a really exciting program for those that fall in this category. Once you reach out to me, we got you. We're happy to help you. I'll relate all of the details for that particular program. So yes, we have programs for working moms. So you being a mom should not be a barrier for you to attain fulfillment, to attain all those goals and targets that you set for yourself. So I'll just scroll down a bit to take more of the questions. So PJ says, are there any prior knowledge required, and when can I start the course? So again, as Peter has said earlier, there are no prior IT knowledge required. Just come. The only thing would be requiring of you is your commitment. As Peter said again, it has to do with commitment, because it's a new sphere, and when something is new, it gets frustrating initially. So that can happen. But then again, it's the commitment to the course that just pulls you through. So again, we do not require you to come with any prior knowledge. The only thing we require of you to come with is commitment. So just come with your commitment. And again, the sky is the beginning of all of the great things you could do in the Salesforce eco system. Then there's also a feedback in the chat window. So I'd like for us to just navigate to the chat window, click on the Airtable link we have there, and just fill back those forms for us, please. That's really very important for us. Then Ben is asking, how much is the certification exam? So the CERT exam is, as I said before, $200. But again, as I said, we're going to be helping you with the bit. But with the CERT exam comes this TVB link. So TVB is like a boot camp. So aside from our in classes that we have, so Salesforce also has this boot camp that they run. So the total costing for the boot camp is about $450, which includes the $200 for the exam. So it's more like $250 for the boot camp, $200 for the exam. So from our end, what we're saying is we are giving you all of that free of charge. What we just require of you is to register for the in-house classes. And for the in-house classes, they go at the rate of $250,000. And you can actually pay in 2 installments for folks that probably would not have the financial capability to pay at once. So it's 250,000 naira, and you can pay in 2 installments. Then, so as I said, oh, there's a placement available. Interesting. Can you elaborate a bit more, and how many months? So as I said, what we've tried to do, and what we're trying to like provide for all of us on this call is more like a month job. So from the beginning, when you pay, do your onboarding, you have a foresight as to when you're going to be getting placed. So there's a timeline. There's the 2-month period when you're in class. After that 2 months, then there's a 1 month where you're doing hands-on. Then there's another 1 month where you're prepping for your exams. After passing your exams, the next thing is for us to start re-engineering your CV, giving you all of the makeup that you'll be needing for to look good in front of potential employers, all those bits and pieces. So looking at what I just said, so it looks like a 4 to 5 months timeline. So it's like a 4 to 5 months timeline. Saying if I start now in April, then in the next 4 months, I should be here. I should be talking to potential employers. So that's how simple we've made it for you. That's how simple we've made it for you. Then Aisha says, would you advise writing the exam online or a center? And where is the center in Lagos? So for most of our guys that have written the exam, most of them actually wrote it in their houses. So if you have good internet, a good laptop, then you can write it from your house. Although it's booked out, meaning you'll be watched, but you can write it from your house. And again, if your say your network's bandwidth is about 5 Mbps, then I think you're good to go. So you should be able to do that from your house. Then yeah, we also have the bit about our socials. So I would like for everyone on this call to follow us on our socials, on IG, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on Facebook. So I'd like for all of those things to happen. So we could just take out about 30 seconds to do that, just to follow us on our socials. Then also to take out time to fill the Airtable link we have earlier. So as we're filling them, you could just signify in the chat bar, in the chat box rather, that you've done that. So just wrap up the session and just move on. Yeah, so while we do that, Peter, do we have any further remarks and all those things?
Yeah, sure. I don't know what happened to my video, but yeah, it's turned off now.
Oh, okay. So you could just probably just drop some last comments and thoughts from you guys. Then if you have more questions, guys, you can drop your questions so take them also.
Sure.
So
So
just
yeah,
carry on.
thank you all for obviously coming around to listen. And I know um, everyone is focusing on one thing or the other. If you have questions relating to what path do I take, I'm sure Mr. Ife is able to answer those kind of questions on the fly. And I'm happy to also, you know, be one-on-one with anyone who is like really interested in, a particular path.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. So, thanks, Peter, and thank you for taking out time to be here. So before we would end the session, I'd just like to round up with this. So at Ydev, what we do is, as you can see on the screen, we are preparing everyone on this call, every youth in Nigeria, every youth in Africa for the best. What we want to do is to arm you with all of all those skill sets that you require to really thrive in the current ecosystem in the world. Again, the world is moving. I always like to put in this quote when I'm having sessions like this. A new world has unfolded. Either we like it or not, we just have to accept it. And this new world that has unfolded is continuing to unfold. It waits for nobody. Then what's the responsibility for me? From me, what's the responsibility from you on this call? It's to find our place in it. So, and again, why we're having this call is Salesforce looks like a best fit, or I would say a suitable fit for us to find our place in this new world that is unfolding. Nobody wants to be left behind. Nobody wants to be stuck in their current life situations and circumstances and all of all those big pieces. So again, this is something to think about. I would expect to be getting like a lot of buzz and chats up and calls from all of us on the call after this session, because again, we need to just progress lives. Then at Ydev Academy, we not only provide trainings for Salesforce, we also have other interesting courses that would provide trainings for. So there's a bit about cloud engineering. There's a bit about DevOps engineering. There's also a buzz ecosystem in the current world that we have cloud engineering and DevOps. So if you are looking that route, also probably you could multitask, do Salesforce, do this. You have like you're an high achiever. You really want to go that route. Then that's the place for you. And there's also the bit about software development. And for folks looking to go say Salesforce developer route, and you're thinking, oh, I do not have any software background, then Ydev Academy is still a place to go to. We could give you the bit about software development that would also help you in your Salesforce developer career. So all of all those things intertwined. We've thought this through, and we've just thought to create all of all these buzzing, amazing courses for you. And there's also the bit about product management, Salesforce admin, as we've been speaking about, product design, UI, UX, data science, and machine learning operations, then QA, quality testing and software testing. So we have all of these courses, and if any of this interests you, then you could also reach out to us on any of our socials. You can reach out to us on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook at Ydev Academy. Pretty simple at Ydev Academy. Reach out to us on our socials. Again, so I think that was a good one, and that's all I have for us. And Peter has done most of the talk, and he has made us see where we fit in our minds. I already know most of us are thinking of where we fit in. So again, okay. Oh, okay. I'll just move on along, and if we do not have any questions, I would like to confirm if every one of us has filled the Airtable link. Please fill the form on the chat, then also follow us on our socials. And I don't know, Peter, do you have any roundup message for every one of the guys on the call? Something that would inspire them to just push this and just push it through. Then we end the session. Hi, Peter. Oh, okay, I don't think Peter is here. So again, that's it from us. Okay.
Sorry, guys. I think I was on mute, so I couldn't activate my microphone.
Oh,
Can you all
okay.
hear me?
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
you can just give closing remarks and we end the session.
Yeah, for sure. So thanks again for attending, everyone. It was a good session. Really nice questions that were asked during the session. I just want to encourage everyone that, sometimes you need to make, some certain decisions that you're probably not 100% certain that is what it is, but once you know you're heading in the right direction, you just keep moving. So for something like this, it's worth a shot. It's worth trying, and I can guarantee you'd never regret it.
Thanks,
So
bro.
just no.
Thanks. Yeah, it was nice having you on the call today. So there are actually a number of our existing students on this call also. So I just told them to join in to come and hear from you. And we would also we actually have a class this morning. So for all of us looking interested at joining us, so we could reach any of our socials, as I said before. Probably I could just I don't want to drop my I was thinking of dropping my number here, but I think because of the glitch that happened earlier, I don't want anybody to start spamming my phone. So you could just reach us on our socials, then we'll then reach back to you. Our classes for Salesforce happen weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, and again, amazing chat. We have a couple of the students on board here, and they can testify to the progress they've made. So again, guys, we'll be looking forward to you guys reaching out and we starting off this journey together. Thanks, guys, for joining me today. And enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Yeah, bye for now, guys.